Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino ranks every minigame in Fall Guys from worst to best. There are 24 in the launch build of the game and I am not categorizing them by category, so starting from worst and working our way to best, number worst, Perfect Match. Not for this game, it ain't. Perfect Match is a memory game, which tasks 1/3 of the players with memorizing the flashing locations of fruit tiles, and the other 2/3 with looking at where the 1/3 are standing and wandering over to them with no regard for anything. I've qualified in this game several times without paying the slightest attention to where the fruit are or even which fruit I'm supposed to stand on. You've just got 4 seconds to find the largest cluster of people and cling to them like a brain-dead barnacle with short-term memory loss. If you do decide to play correctly, it's still very easy to memorize fruit patterns, and as a result, Perfect Match rarely eliminates more than 2 or 3 people, which makes it a pointless game to play overall. Number 23, Seesaw. If you're in the front row, it might as well be flat, motionless terrain the whole way, because that half-second advantage is all it takes not to get clustered up with everyone else behind you adding too much weight to the saws on either side and making it impossible to land on one without sliding off. There's one particular purple seesaw that is always stuck at an almost vertical angle after the first 10 or so people cross it, and failing at that juncture respawns you right in front of it, where you then have to turn backwards and run around to the other adjacent platform and wait for things to right themselves naturally. You can be stuck in that spot for a solid 90 seconds at a time and still qualify because so is everyone else and there's no time limit. I've also noticed that there is virtually no rhyme or reason to when you can land on a saw without slipping, because I've seen people running up 80% vertical platforms with no problem, and I've seen myself land on one that was barely tilting and promptly slip 30 feet off the edge. The physics in Fall Guys baffles me consistently, but it even sucks to play this if you're in the top 10, because you have to wait 2 full minutes for everyone else to finish, which grinds things to a halt. Number 22, Hoarders. I don't like team games in a solo battle royale. I think it undermines the concept of earning an ultimate victory when you have to put your success in the hands of other players. That said, Hoarders is still the worst. The problem with half the team minigames is that it doesn't matter how well you're doing throughout the competition. All that matters is the end result, so even if you're hoarding balls like a 9th Street hooker for 90% of the game, it doesn't take that skill into account, and you can lose at the last second. I'd rather be a real hoarder and sift through ceiling piles of rotten food and decomposing body parts for my Thursday dinner than see this game come up in the queue. Number 21, Fall Ball. This is where I might diverge from a lot of people, but I hate Fall Ball. It's so slow and aggravating. Feel free to ignore the footage of our team getting demolished by a team that has 1 less player than us, because even when I'm winning, I'm not having fun here. The ball is either traveling at a snail's pace, because hitting it makes it go nowhere in most circumstances, or it's sailing through the air unimpeded towards either goal because teams are figuring out how to spawn camp the ball so they can get the perfect shot as it drops back into the fray every time a goal is scored. It also generally shows up as a game when there's already only 8 or 12 people left, which is a number that's fine for the final round games, so it just serves as another unnecessary luck check that you manage to get a better team than your opponents when you've already made it far enough to go for goal. Number 20, Fall Mountain. And then this map is usually next, and that's not good for anyone stuck in the second row because you've already lost. This race demands perfection or you are out of there. As far as final races go, I don't think the obstacles in this are any good, plus it's not even as long as some of the qualifying rounds, which makes winning it feel arbitrary. Also, I know the game says grab the crown, and if you read the description it says press R2 to grab the crown, but the first time I got to the crown and jumped towards it, I didn't know to press R2 to grab the crown, and I was pissed off. And then I saw someone else grab the crown, and I was like, oh, grab the crown, instead of smack my head into the crown and then fall and get stuck. So I got robbed. Number 19 and 18, Tail Tag and Team Tail Tag. There's no sound here. I went on a 6-hour recording binge to try and get footage of all these games, but some of them just refused to show up in the random rotation, so I had to go through my old stream footage and silence and crop the overlays for like 3 of them. All games that revolve around grabbing people are lame because latency. Everybody's playing by the same rules, but on your screen you're playing against a bunch of go-go gadgets who can stretch their arms 20 feet in front of themselves to pluck that tail off your gaping anus. Makes it very easy to misjudge people's distances. You'll think you're far enough away to make a sharp turn and then find your tail spirited away like that one anime I forgot the name of. I'd still say it should be about who spent the most amount of time holding the tails rather than who ends up with them, but Team Tail Tag in particular is unfortunate because as a team member it's impossible for you to compensate for your teammates' weaknesses. You can only hold 1 tail, and that's the most you can individually contribute, so you can't carry the day like you feel you deserve to. I don't know why people are trying to grab my tail anyway, just let me be the furry I was born to be. Number 17, Tiptoe. This game is a meme. The goal is to reveal the proper path forward amidst a sea of fake disappearing tiles. It's funny how everyone starts off gung-ho and brave in the beginning, flinging themselves into the abyss just to make a dent since you respawn, but then once the path is like 75% finished, everyone suddenly gets real cautious, and it turns into a game of find someone to push into a square we haven't evaluated yet so we can make some damn headway. But there's a reason for that. If you get knocked off with only 3 or 4 squares of the path remaining, you're not getting back in time. It's like a herd of penguins huddled together for warmth, but ready to betray the group and sacrifice their ranks at a moment's notice. I don't even really think this is a bad game. It's just unpredictable and luck-based, which makes it frustrating to lose. Number 16, Hit Parade. This race is the most bland for me as a first-round qualifier. You don't even have to be good at any of the obstacles. It's almost faster to forget the balance beams entirely and just slide down the hill and run back up. And even if you're not leading the pack after that, the revolving doors challenge basically guarantees you'll catch up to everyone else since they have to slow down to push against it. From here, it's a basic line of wrecking balls and then a slippery climb of easy-to-avoid bouncers that it barely matters if you hit anyway. There are more straightforward races than this, but this one just cobbles together a bunch of ineffective obstacles, so it's a yawn. Number 15, Fruit Chute. I like the concept of this race. They were just like, what if we put them on a giant conveyor belt and then shot a whole produce aisle at them? It gets to the point where there's just too much to dodge and not enough reaction time to do it, although I found out eventually that momentum-retaining jumps are a good way to get up the hill faster. I still prefer the races where you can learn the obstacles through repeated attempts with less randomness going on. Number 14, Rock and Roll. As far as team games go, this is one of the least offensive. I haven't had to write a blog about it yet or try to get it fired from its tenured teaching profession. In Rock and Roll, you just roll, homie, steer that globe around some obstacles, and depending on the amount of players, let a couple of your team break off and go mess up the other teams once they get past a certain point. It only takes one person to stop a ball in its tracks for a good couple seconds, but in all the games I've played, most of them were just clean with no sabotage to speak of. We're all fall guys after all. Number 13, Egg Scramble. Don't mistake my position of this game above others for my enjoyment of it. I hate when this thing pops up in the rotation, but I admit that it's solid. Your team's got to get as many eggs into your area and keep them there as possible, with 3 golden eggs worth 5 points each that make up the bulk of the scrambling effort. As far as strategy goes, it gets downright biblical. Whoever has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken from him. It basically means the top 2 teams telepathically agree to steal from the worst team, so they stay the worst team and get eliminated, while the bottom team can't telepathically agree on which of the 2 top teams to steal back from, so they split their already outnumbered efforts and fall into even greater ruin. It's a harsh world out there, but you don't feel too bad when you're the one doing the systematic destruction. Number 12, Block Party. This game would be a lot better if the walls came from both sides, and you had to stay in the middle and pay attention to both. As it stands, the only thing that'll trip you up is literally other people tripping you up, because trying to squeeze 30 Fall Guys through a gap the size of 3 Fall Guys is a tall order. If you don't get caught in the mosh pit, there's no issue though. Number 11, Rollout. Another survival game like Block Party, Rollout at least gives you more room to work with, and if you're camped at either end, just traveling back and forth between 2 sections, it's pretty hard to imagine dying, but people still manage it. Number 10, Royal Fumble. This tail-grabbing game is only elevated beyond other tail-grabbing games because it's a small arena with a small number of players, so you can employ some more effective strategies when it comes to cutting people off or escaping with your tail between your legs. Since it's a final round game, the stakes are higher too, which elevates the excitement, and the subsequent decompression of all your negative emotions when you lose your tail with 3 seconds remaining from a dude halfway across the map. I've played this game a dozen times and only won twice. It's real easy to let victory slip through your fingers and into the gooch of the person behind you. Number 9, DoorDash. Yeah, it's simple, but it's fun. Shout out to fellow members of the Fall Guys Wrecking Crew, who shoot their shots every round and bust through every door in their way instead of just waiting for someone else to do it and swooping in like a freaking scavenger. Yeah, I broke that door down for you. You want me to eat it for you too? How about a thank you for rolling the red carpet out for you all the way to the finish line? Won't stop me from getting second place, you gosh darn MFer. Number 8, Gate Crash. Very straightforward, timing-based race. No one to blame but yourself if you mess up. As far as races with one repeated obstacle go, I'll take this over Seesaw any day. That final slide is no problem once you learn the timing, which is not to slide until the gate you're trying to clear is near the top of its rising edge. Number 7, Dizzy Heights. There's really nothing to say about this race. It's white cake, vanilla ice cream, and milk. all of which are tasty and staples for a reason, but also boring as far as meal choices go. It's good enough. When this race shows up, I'm like, cool, easy win, the countdown starts and I turn my brain off. Nothing about this is even remotely challenging, although it's pretty annoying every time you jump onto the big 3-layered spin cycle and your character just cannot handle the landing ever because his legs are made of gelatin. That's another thing about this game. My character's knees will just buckle for no reason at all. You might understand it for that jump because I probably fall over in real life too, but sometimes I'll do a short hop off like a 2-inch tall stair and my dude is like, oh my goodness, I'm wiping out, bro. I didn't know we were doing base jumps today. Where's my parachute? Number 6, Jump Club. This is my favorite survival game. You've got 2 layers of pipes, and the bottom travels faster than the top, and you must position yourself to jump over the bottom while staying low under the top. One mistake and you're probably done, short of a miracle, but games about timing and perception are my cup of tea, so pass me the sugar, baby. Number 5, JINXED. I know I said I don't like grab games, but this is the exception. JINXED is fun. It's like the infected mode in Call of Duty, where you try to avoid getting jinxed, but if you do get jinxed, you want to jinx as many of the opposing team as possible until nobody's left. There's a couple strats you can do, which makes this game cerebral. Either you can be a slippery little devil and try to be the last man unjinxed to win it for your team, or if you think you're a good jinxer, you can go seek out the jinxed early, get jinxed on purpose, and then infect as many people as you can to cover the difference. I'm bad at escaping, so I like to go get jinxed early, but some people are wise to that and won't jinx you if they know you must be a threat to want it. This game has layers, man. If I get jinxed, but I jinx 3 or 4 or 5 people, I did more than my part. Number 4, the Whirlygig. I consider this to be among the best races. It's lengthy, it's dangerous, it's got a deadly shortcut that usually isn't worth attempting, a good checkpoint system for all the falling you're about to do, and it takes people a while to complete, which means even if you mess up a few times, you still have a decent chance. Races are my favorite genre in Fall Guys. I hope the new minigames they add have plenty of them. Number 3, Hoopsie Daisy. Best team game by a mile, but it hardly ever shows up in my rotation. I just wish I didn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops just to jump through a bunch of hoops. This game is pure fun and pure skill. It's very possible to carry your team to at least some extent, which I like, and it's just super enjoyable to dive through hoops, and also enjoyable to watch other people bounce off the sides of hoops multiple times in a row before you swoop in and nab it from them Cirque du Soleil style. If there was a voting system for selecting minigames sometimes instead of just random, I'm confident this one would be picked 80% of the time. Number 2, HEX-A-GONE. Now this is a final round game. HEX-A-GONE tasks you with maintaining your footing on disappearing layers of hexagons, trying to stay as high up as you can to be the last one to fall all the way down into the drink. This game has multiple modes of strategy. You can either slowly hop one tile at a time, which definitely extends your available time per layer, or you can run along quickly and try to cut off and trap other characters in a confinement of empty space. You should be doing both, on and off, when the situation calls for it. Like, jump slowly whenever you're on your own, and certainly if you've got the rest of the layer to yourself when everyone else has fallen already. But if someone starts encroaching on your territory, it's time to ramp up the speed and turn in on them before they can turn in on you. When you start to run out of tiles, it's very important to look down and search for safe spaces to land. Plan your layers out in advance, even if it's only a small group of tiles below you. 5 tiles can give you an extra 5 seconds of life. That can make all the difference. You can jump 1 full tile gap away, or you can jump dive 2 tiles away, but the jump dive is very precise timing for being able to jump again after the landing, so only do it when absolutely necessary. This is definitely my most won final round game, and it really gets the blood pumping much more than the others do. Number 1, Slime Climb. I love Slime Climb. Why? Because it culls the most people out of any minigame on this list. When Slime Climb hits the rotation, you know 75% of the players are gone. Because unlike other races, this one has a rising level of slime that if you fall in, you're dead. No respawn, you're eliminated. That's hardcore. I've spent millennia mastering the Slime Climb. While you practiced for your SATs, I studied the climb. While you went to the gym and increased your health and attractiveness, I studied the climb. While you invested properly in the stock market and reaped plentiful financial gains, elevating your level of income and the economic status of your family, I studied the climb. All you have to do to finish in the top 10 of Slime Climb is to finish Slime Climb. Slime Climb takes care of the rest. I hope more racing minigames are like Slime Climb. Well, that's gonna do it for this ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other ranking videos. Follow me on Twitter @SunburnedOutBino, and I will see you guys next time.